So hey, how y'all doing? It's Sharonda, and hey, how y'all doing? So I'm here with another video. It will probably be my only video for the month, but let's get into this thing, shall we? All right, so this is just gonna be a quick bookish wrap up because I think I only read like 4 books in, what are we in? September. So we just came out of the last month. I can't even remember it right now. I'll pop it down on page. But this is going to be like a quick monthly wrap up from the previous month and a book review. Okay? So, yeah. So, like I said, the last month I read maybe like 4 books because I ended up DNFing a book. To actually say that I had a DNF is crazy, people. Because generally I do attempt to read all the books that I pick up, but I just was not feeling it. And I'm just going to name what that DNF was. And it was Frisco by Bianca Xavier. Like all the black romance girlies were talking about, were the ones I'll follow and fuck with. They were talking about it. You got to read it. You got to read it. And I tried, and I don't know. I couldn't just not get into the story. And I had no issues with the character and how he was because there is cheating inside of the book. But the main character, he's like, you know, the big man on campus and stuff. But, you know, and, you know, he meets his, you know, the girl that just does it, the lady, the woman that just does it for him, you know, but he got all this shit going on, right? He's in a relationship and, yeah, it's a whole background on that. But I don't know. I just could not get into the book. I think I DNF'd it at like maybe, I don't even think I was, no, maybe like 20-25% I DNF'd the book because I was just like, what is this? So yeah, I don't know. It was just the beginning. And I think like even from the beginning, I think the author did way too much over explaining of things. Like, you know, it was like, oh, it's like these, so it's like a series with these brothers or whatever. And it's like, it was like one scene where she was explaining one of the brothers that is part of this, they're like part of a crime organization. And one of the brothers, he runs the guns and stuff like that. And then she just went in explaining like the whole thing over again in another way. And I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm tapping out. So I don't know, like I was already like annoyed by the book a little bit, but then when that came on, I was like, yeah, I'm tapping out. And yeah, I did Sex and Rescue by A. Blossom. Actually, me and my podcast mate on Brazenly Shady, we talk about this book a whole lot. We had a whole lot of fun podcasting that book. Like it was because we both had like these different opinions about the book and stuff. So it made for a really funny ass episode. So please check out our latest episode of Brazenly Shady. It is called 91 / Sex and Rescue because we actually talked about 2 books on the last episode. But yeah, the book was wow. So basically it has like that whole one bed type thing going on, even though they're actually trapped inside of an elevator. But what happens is you have this ex couple that meet up again like after 5 years, and they get stuck in an elevator and things just go from there. They actually Lennox and Romello are the name of the characters, and there's a reason for their initial breakup, and there's all this tension and stuff. Romello is pissed the fuck off at Lennox because, you know, she kind of like left him. He feels like in a messed up situation, and she felt like she had to do what she had to do. They actually snuck off and got married while they were in college, but that whole shit just fell apart one day. And yeah, they meet up again, and 5 years later, stuck in an elevator. And yeah, the sex times was sexing, like they were. But the book was good. But if you want to hear more of my thoughts on this book, please check out me and Tamer's episodes of Brazenly Shady, because the book is something else. Also, read The Art of Desire by Stacey Abrams. This is another writing under Selena Montgomery, but this is a re-release through her publisher. I did not like this book. I don't know. I just felt like I liked it but didn't like it, if that makes sense, right? I just feel like we really didn't have a whole lot of chemistry between the characters. And she's very big on writing like romance suspense, which is another genre that I heavily like. Like, I like romance suspense, but I just felt like there was no like chemistry between this couple. It felt at times like a little bit forced. Yeah, I just, in the plot of the suspense, I think that's what kept me reading this book. It was a very interesting plot. We have another character. She has like this organization that she created inside of this book. I actually think it's part of a series, but it's not mentioned that it is. But this whole shadow government organization where these black men work for, they're kind of like, secret agents and things like that. And we have another dude from the organization. He is at the point in his life where he wants to, Philip is his name, Philip Terment. Philip is another dude from this shadow organization, and he's at the point in his life where he wants to kind of like, settle down if he finds the right woman. And then you have Alex, who is kind of like this. You know what I loved about Alex? I know I'm going off key, but y'all know how I do. What I loved about Alex is that she was just like, I love reading stories where black women are kind of like written to be like this, like these, I won't say Alex is spoiled, but she won't spoil, but kind of like, she comes from a very rich background, right? Like, the girl don't have to work, like, thanks to like her grandparents and her parents, like, she don't have to work. Like, she comes off kind of flighty in the book because she's trying to like choose between these careers. Like, when we go inside of the book, she's like an artist, and then she's also deciding to start writing, writing books and stuff. And I think she's using Philip as her it's her first kind of like character inspiration and stuff. So they kind of like connect through that. But I love the fact that she was just like, I don't really have to work, child. She travels the country. She does like her art, her like flighty art. I won't say it was flighty because she actually did good artwork and stuff. But, I love the way she was written. I think we need to see more black girls like that, saying, and not just not because they're rich, because they, it came from a man that they dealt with, anything like that. Like, she was rich because her family was rich, shit like that. She was kind of like an heiress, kind of like, what do you call those kind of girls that, yeah, anyway. But yeah, so I think the suspense part of the book is what kept me reading, because Alice kind of like gets, unbeknownst to her, gets caught up in kind of like this whole situation that kind of like ties into Philip and his past and stuff like that. So yeah, but I don't know, the relationship just didn't feel kind of authentic to me. It felt kind of like forced at times. So yeah, so, like I said, her publisher is like doing all these re-release, I feel like, of her older books. If you read them, and there's no updates to the stories or anything like that. They're basically just slapping covers, as you can see, on books that were previously published. And, I don't know, I don't know how I feel about that. The next book is Kiss and Spell by Celestine Martin. And this was good. It's a paranormal romance. She actually has another book that I saw that I'm going to check out. This was good. I really, really did. It's kind of like a witchy, I won't say paranormal. Oh yeah, kind of like a witchy romance. It was good. I ended up rating it 3 stars on GoodReads. I liked it. It was cute for a little. It was something because I was kind of like not stuck in between reads, but I think I was going into kind of like a funk with reading books and stuff. And I picked this up. This was I forgot to say, that the Stacey Abrams book was also a request through NetGalley through the publisher. Sorry, just like this, just like this one is. I actually requested this book through NetGalley. Yeah, I like the book. It was really, really cute. But basically, you have I think this is part 2. This is book 2 in a series that she has. The first book I want to read because everybody's talking about the first book too. But back to what I was saying. We have Ursula, who is a witch just trying to get herself back together, girl. She's just trying to get herself back together. She's trying to, like, you know, get acclimated back to life and all this other stuff. And she runs into, yeah, see, I'm looking down because I don't be remembering these names at all, especially when I'm doing my wrap-ups. That's really just like a mess. And she actually runs into a prince, Xavier Alder, and he's actually looking for love. And in comes Ursula. This was a really cute read. I like the vibes of the characters. I just thought they were really cute on page. It was a really, really, really cute witchy romance. So if you like witchy romances, definitely check out Kiss and Spell. Cute read. Liked it a lot. So hey, I came to interrupt myself because I actually read 5 books for August, okay? And I missed a book. That book is 91 Olivia by Alicia Weathers Gray, which is a review request that Tama and I received for the podcast. And for the most part, we liked the book. We thought it was a cute read. We did have an issue where with the romance, we felt like it was kind of like overpowered by the side story of the dude's, the issue that was going on with the dude's parents. And also we had a female character that was kind of like, you know, resistant to being in a relationship. She kept putting our boy in the friend zone and he really wanted to commit. So yeah, for the most part, we did like the book. This book review is also part of the episode where we discussed sex and rescue. So again, check out Brazenly Shady, our last episode, and yeah, you can hear our thoughts on our complete thoughts on this book. So back to this review. So Love Me Now is a Gods of Hunger book by R.M. Virtues. This is book 4 in that series, and let's get on over to this review because this was good. Okay, oh my god, so this is a queer romance. Both the characters are the main characters and the side characters, but we're talking about the main characters here are trans men. Okay, and oh my god, so in this book in this book, we have Achilles and Patroclus, if I'm saying that right, Patroclus. I even went on Google, and you know, with Google, you can have them pronounce words and stuff, and I was trying to get Google to pronounce. It did actually pronounce the name of the character, but I don't know if I'm saying it right. So if I'm saying it wrong, I'm so very sorry. But this is a romance between Achilles and Patroclus, and I think in Greek mythology, Achilles and Patroclus, Achilles and Patroclus were best friends. Come on, hold friends to lovers vibe. Y'all know where I'm going with this. So, so this book is friends to lovers, and we have like a whole forced proximity and also like a one bed situation going on, right? So in this book, we pick back up, we go back into the whole Gods of Hunger world, and like I said, Achilles and Patroclus are friends in this book. They became friends after they both come to what is the name of this world, this town that Hades runs. And y'all know any book with art and virtues of Hades in it, y'all know I love that shit. I love Hades. I love R.M. Virtue's version of Hades. Like, just I'm buying time while I look up the name of the city, but yes. So, because honey, I love it. So we return to the River Styx district, which is a Hades whole district. So in his series, there are districts that are this whole world is broken up into districts, and each god has their own district, right? But Achilles and Patroclus is in Hades district, which is the river Styx, the river Styx. I think that's how you say it. But anyway, so they had none. If y'all go back and read the first book, you'll get the whole breakdown of the world. But anyway, so we back to Achilles and Patroclus. Okay, so they work for Hades at his casino, and they find out that there is this place. This book also reads a little bit like, like the whole arena fighting thing, like back in the day, the whole Roman kind of like arena fighting, where it's like fight to the death, things like that. But he does do like a little bit, of a different turn on it. But anyway, they have to go back where both Achilles grew up in this place where this arena is at, and Patroclus actually was kind of like, he was running away from home from an abusive stepfather, and he ended up on the wrong boat, and he ended up in this city where this arena is. And basically in this city, if you're not part of the top 1%, you were down in the lower valleys, and you were fighting in this arena, basically, like I said, fighting for your life. So they get this job from Hades, where they have to go back to this city and save people that were, like, when Zeus was head of the city that now Hades is, Zeus being Zeus was fucked up in this series. Like, I think that's why I like this series so much, because Zeus is actually the bad guy. Like, when we go into a lot of these Greek retellings, mythology retellings, Hades is always the bad guy, and Greek and Zeus is like this hero or whatever. But Zeus was a motherfucker, and then he had, like, he was a cheating ass husband. He had kids, all, these little demigods running all over the fucking world. But anyway, because I'm getting mad all over again, like, because. But so Zeus was like sending people there, or family members from the district that Hades now run. They were, as like punishment, they were like sending their kids there and shit. And then Hades, not Hades, but Zeus with, with his different goddamn babies all over the world and shit. Some of his kids he was sending there. It was like, and in this book we get to meet art and virtues of Hercules, and I'm like, okay. But anyway, so they get this assignment to go back to this city where this arena is and rescue people. And, Achilles is down for it, because actually his best friend, Helen, is one of the people that they have to save. But there's a whole twist to that. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, because I ain't going to go into it too much anymore. Helen got on my motherfucking nerves in this book, because I was like, bitch, I'm going to need for you to tell everybody why you want to stay in this fucking city and why you doing what you want to do. I hate running around talk. I hate running. Get to the goddamn point, okay, Helen? Helen got on my nerves. But anyway, so, they have to go back. Achilles is fine with going back. Achilles was kind of like saved from arena fighting from this dude that came in that basically built like a military soldier. You know what I mean? Like, Achilles was badass, right? And Patroclus was badass too, but Patroclus was having anxiety about going back, especially when he stated in one of the books how, like, a lot of the trans characters in that city had to, when they were in the arena fighting, like, their masculinity or their femininity was, being held, held over their head like a cat, like a carrot, like somebody would take a carrot, tie a carrot to the end of a string and kind of like, kind of lead a horse to get the horse to do what they want to do. So, not Achilles, but Patroclus was having like really bad anxiety. He didn't want to go back, but Patroclus was also in love with Achilles, and because Achilles was going, he was going too. So this book is really heavy. Right off the back, I say check your triggers. The thing that I love about Art and Virtues in his books is that of course, he gives content and triggers warnings, but he's very careful with the topics that he's writing about. You know what I'm saying? There's, I love that they had therapy, like the kind of like off-brand kind of therapy in this book. Because you saw like once Achilles and Patroclus got to this city, and Achilles started hooking up with, some of the people that he knew. You saw like how, like even Patroclus, when he was hooking up with some of the people that he knew, when they came into connection with some of the people that they knew there, you could see like, kind of like when I say off-brand therapy, they were having these conversations and it was kind of like soothing. Everybody had like, I wouldn't say trauma bonding because, people find out certain words and they just run. I wouldn't say they were trauma bonding, but they were having conversations that were kind of like therapy to them, like it was kind of like healing conversations because, everybody had this shit going on and everybody had, so it was, that's why I say it was like off-brand therapy, which I really, really dealt because it seemed like I said, if you weren't at the top percent in the city, everybody was having a hard motherfucking time, and if you did make it out of the arena, it almost kind of sort of still wasn't good. You know what I mean? Like that. But the romance between them was just so fucking sweet. I just loved it. And it is a little bit of a slow burn. I know a lot of folks don't like slow burn because there's a lot going on around them. You know what I mean? They actually get captured and they have to go back and fight inside of this arena. And Patroclus, that just sends him like, kind of like into like a downspin. So Achilles has to like be there for him to help him get through being in the arena again, even though he was fucking shit up. Cause child, Patroclus is like, y'all is not about to kill me up in here. I'm gonna kill everybody. But and their romance was just so, and that's where the whole one bed came in because they had to share a room. And there was always like this underlining attraction between Achilles and Patroclus. And they never really acted on it. They were just friends, when they were in the River Styx district. But when they went on this mission and they're caught up in this one bed and, they have to start arena fighting again. And it's just like all this tension comes out. And then you had it where Achilles is usually a top and then he becomes a bottom, and and where Patroclus is usually a bottom and he ends up topping Achilles. And it was just like, okay, but I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't know why I got excited by that part, but I did. But their romance was sweet, but it was also tense because of the situation that was going on around them and them having to kind of like, like talk Patroclus out of his head sometimes, because sometimes he would get in his head from being in the arena again, and it's crazy. But like the plot, this whole thing going on, like I really feel like I didn't do like a whole fully review on my Instagram. I just feel like Zeus is behind it some kind of way, because now, and I like how his whole story is unfolding, like how he's tying like the whole Greek mythology thing in it, because now we see that there's this plot for where they have to actually, in the next book, where we're going to see where this is where the whole Helen situation came in, where they're actually about to go to Troy, where Helen's husband or something is about to go to Troy and attack Troy. So, the whole Helen of Troy thing, we got that whole situation kind of like going on. So we're gonna see that in the next book. So, but I feel like all this shit that is going on, that's kind of like because in the first book they banned Zeus from the river Styx, and I feel like Zeus, all this shit that is going on, like over the course of books, and just in full transparency, I have not read book 3 yet. Book 3 is the longest book, and I want to read it because that is Didymos' book, and I want to read that. I think it's Didymos and Athena's book. Yes, but it's like 500 pages, and why? Why is that book 500 pages? Man, but I'm gonna go back and read it anyway. But I just have to get in the headspace with these long books. But because I want to like continue that series so much, then yeah. But once he released this, I was like, I'm jumping in. It wasn't that long either. Woo. So, you see across all the books where these situations are happening, and I feel like it's Zeus in the background trying to get his revenge. That's just me. Little conspiracy theories thing going on with me in this series, because I think Zeus wants his revenge against Hades, and Hades is doing, everybody always thought Hades is, is the bad guy, but he's not in the series, and I think Zeus wants his revenge. But this book was so good. It was so amazing. Like, I high-key enjoyed this book a whole lot. I just love the vibes between Achilles and Patroclus. I just thought they were just really great on page. They had great chemistry, and I loved like the whole lead into them becoming lovers from friends. Like it was just seamless. It was great. You know what I mean? And I love that they were able to, I love that Achilles was kind of like this rough, on the end, he, on the front and the back end, he was like this rough person. He was trained to be like this killer soldier or whatever. But when it came to Patroclus, he was able to be soft and loving because that's what he wanted to be for him. Like, it was just, I loved it. And they were just really great on page. And they had like a really great band of side characters from previous side characters from other books that actually, and some new ones. And I love the fact that the men that were sent in to help them were also trans. So yeah, he's really good at writing like queer characters, and I love that for him, and I love that for us. But being that the author is a trans man himself, then yeah, he would be good at that, right? And I think that's why I love this series so much, because I always, if we're going to talk about the whole diversity and inclusive thing, I really think that if we're going to be reading, a lot of queer romances, then they need to be more inclusion of queer romances written by actual queer people. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. But because we have a whole conversation about that, but I ain't gonna go off on a tangent. But yeah, this book was really, really great. This is another wonderful addition inside of the Gods of Hunger series. High key, loved it a lot. And if you are feeling so lovely and free, then I definitely say add this book, add this series to your TBR. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. That's all I have to say. Just read any of his books. Honestly, Iron Virtues is a really wonderful author, and I honestly haven't had anything bad to say about any of his books that I read. So yeah, that is it for me. Until the next one, later days. Bye.